Right then, hello people, this is Steve Birkin of Highbrows High Car, once again with a bit of man flu this time. Yes, what I'm doing this time is the top 10 sci-fi villains, and I'm not going any further than say the mid-90s, and I'm going back probably as far as 1963 with what I'm talking about here. These are things that I bought on DVD, so I'm going to give honourable mentions to the things that I didn't buy on DVD, which I might have had on VHS or just remember them as really good films, etc. I know people were concerned about the bright purple background, so hopefully I've alleviated that for people this time. So, no Star Trek in this because I've done plenty of Star Trek, so I'm going to pick 4 here that I've done that I don't actually have the DVDs of, but definite honourable mentions. So yes, I'm going for RoboCop from the 1987, Clarence Bodiker and Dick Jones, yes, two good nasties in that. Battle Beyond the Stars, Sador. Now I'd probably say in some ways where RoboCop's got it better is that even though RoboCop was a comic, and the films at the time had the sort of like the zany sort of newscasts and the zany adverts, the rest of it was proper badass stuff. So Battle Beyond the Stars, that felt like a comic all along, but yeah, Sador, the guy that's sort of like he wants to live wherever, he conquers every race going, and he assembles bits of himself, you know, he removes organs from other beings and things like that in order that he can continue and eventually get to Antigua. Yeah, another one, the Demon Seed, Proteus, I want to blow you. You can't really say much about having a good image, single image of this, but yes, definitely a good film. And yeah, the computer wanting to you know, ruderate, and the dark computer aspect of it, you know, wanting to be alive and taking it to quite extremes, but yes, a good film. Well, and the next one needs no introduction, Daleks, yes. Well, what can you say about these? People were scared of these when they were kids and used to hide behind settee and things like that. For the kind of things that I got scared about, the Daleks never really bothered me. I just thought they were brilliant, and they've been brilliant from day one until these days. They've solved the problem of climbing stairs. I think the only thing I would muse on is they're supposed to be so powerful, but yeah, it seems that sometimes all somebody has to do is go up and push them really hard, they'll get out of control and crash into a wall. Obviously the outside is the only thing you see, that's the protective sensory casing that they've got, so they're kind of like Vaseline infested slimy things on the inside. But yeah, we've always got to remember the actual Doctor Who Daleks with the external and the ring modulator voice, definitely. So, going to the actual top 10. No Star Trek in this, so at number 10,
Mutoids.
Number 9,
Mutoids.
Number 8,
Mutoids.
Number 7,
Mutoids.
Number 6,
Mutoids.
Number 5,
Mutoids.
Number 4,
Mutoids.
Number 3, Number 2, Mutoids.
number 1, the key mutoid in Project Avalon.
She's in black.
No, but seriously. What I am doing with this, I will be honest, is that I'm not using actual video footage for any of this, because this is about the villains. It's about what they say, what they do, how they say it, that type of thing. So I didn't want my video going out of sync to really spoil that. So what I'm using is stills and audio bits from the actual films or series, etc., to really give it justice. At number 10, this may surprise people that it's this low down, but I don't necessarily pick things just because everybody else does. But yes, I do admit that I did go with the majority and pick Carrie as one of my number 1 films. Number 10, Darth Vader, just the masked version. And yeah, from Star Wars, of course, and I'm talking about the ones that we grew up with, those older people, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and the Jedi. And again, just to actually put this villain together, you know, the amount of work that actually went into it. So it wasn't just one guy in a big suit. You basically got the stature in the speaking parts, played by David Prowse, another stature for the fighting parts, and that's Bob Anderson, and then the actual voice was James Earl Jones. So that's just in that part, you know, so a lot went into that. And to be fair, Star Wars did have an epic impact on a lot of people, and once that came out, a lot of other attempts at having such effects probably didn't last the test of time, but that doesn't mean to say that there weren't some brilliant characters in the other stuff. But yeah, the interesting thing is, while they were auditioning for Star Wars, in the same room they were auditioning for Carrie. So yeah, the one who played Tommy Ross could have been Luke Skywalker. Obviously didn't turn out that way, but yeah, there was so much with Star Wars, you know, the lightsabers, we used to call them force beams, and you had Star Wars this, Star Wars that. I had a Star Wars pillowcase, and you can't underestimate, or you can't downplay the impact that Star Wars had. I will just go on to the character again a bit more. You know, Darth Vader, a true sort of good and evil kind of show, rather than any grey areas such as what Star Trek does. Star Wars at that time in particular was just about goodies and baddies, basically. Yeah, so I'm just going to finish on a little bit of a scene, just sound, so that the going out of sync business of my videos won't let it down. So yeah, same picture, but a bit of a sound track from there. And yes, Star Wars, the Darth Vader character, played just in this part by 3 different people, and we obviously get to see more of him later on. At number 9, Sark, from the original version of Tron. A lot would be said for this as well, as in it was something that wowed an audience because of the way it was filmed. It was a once in a lifetime filming experience with everything that they used. They used the best CGI that they had at the time. They used lots of backdrops. They used multiple imagery for each person, you know, picking out the eyes and the teeth, filming them in black and white, adding the bright backdrop colours and all sorts of things that were happening with this. So another one you can't underestimate. It was just the idea of being inside a computer. What would it be like? And Sark being the baddie program, the chief, well, not the chief baddie program, because the master control program with the pitch shifter on his voice was the master person, but basically Sark was second in command. Still a tortured person in some ways, but certainly a dark person, wanting to get the job done as well, and wanting to basically be an imperialistic kind of character. I love the way that when he gets angry, all his light bits light up even further. And yeah, the character played by David Warner, another Shakespearean actor. Also, you might know him from There Are Four Lights, the Gul Madred Cardassian on the Star Trek chain of command. So yeah, super actor in the first place, good at playing dark characters, although I know he does play comedy things as well. But yeah, Sark from Tron.
If the users can no longer help us, we're lost.
So we have erased that program.
No. You were Therese, I saw you.
Not me, Sark.
There's nothing special about you. You're just an ordinary program.
So are you. One that should have been erased.
Nothing. Take that program to the holding pit!
Number 8. Space Odyssey's HAL. Had to be done, yes. Performed by Douglas Rain. It's the calm way the computer speaks on this. It starts off where we all think it's a nice friendly computer, and then things start to go wrong, and just the way that HAL knows what's happening. They think they shut him off, and he reads the lips and finds out everything what they're planning to do, so he begins to eject them one by one out into space. So a good sort of dark character, and not really done before where computers actually turn on humans in that particular fashion. It's usually, if it were anything before, even cartoons and things like that, a computer were just outright bad before, whereas in this case something starts to go wrong with HAL, and it's kind of a slow thing. At first you just think he's a friend, and then as things go on, then yeah, you do sort of learn he's not quite wired up properly. And just that simple light that they have there, you know, the kind of the red eye kind of light, just very simple, the inner sort of fire aspect of it. So yeah, there we go, HAL from Space Odyssey.
Well, hell, I'm damned if I can find anything wrong with it.
Yes. It's puzzling. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this before. I would recommend that we put the unit back in operation and let it fail. It should then be a simple matter to track down the cause. We can certainly afford to be out of communication for the short time it will take to replace it.
X-ray Delta 1, this is Mission Control. Roger, you're 1930. We concur with your plan to replace number 1 unit to check fault prediction. We should advise you, however, that our preliminary findings indicate that your onboard 90000 computer is in error predicting the fault. I say again, in error predicting the fault. I know this sounds rather incredible, but this conclusion is based on results from our twin 90000 computer. We are skeptical ourselves, and we are running cross-checking routines to determine reliability of this conclusion. Sorry about this little snag, fellows. We'll get this info to you just as soon as we work it out. X-ray Delta 1, this is Mission Control. 2049er, transmission concluded.
I hope the two of you are not concerned about this.
No, I'm not, Al.
Are you quite sure?
Yeah, I'd like to ask you a question.
Of course.
How would you account for this discrepancy between you and the Twin 9000?
Well, I don't think there is any question about it. It can only be attributable to human error. This sort of thing has cropped up before, and it has always been due to human error.
And at number 7, Laserta. This is from the original Battlestar Galactica 1978 series, and this is one of the episodes. Basically, Captain Apollo crash lands on this planet, and he realises that there's some dodgy goings on where this Laserta character, who is a sort of a gangster kind of person, and he has a Cylon robot as one of his bodyguards. Apollo goes in to try and infiltrate the situation, and but just before that you also get an idea of what Laserta's about. He's got this really gentle voice, but it's not, that just adds to the menace. It's really good because he's got this gentle voice, but he can still control everybody, as you will see in the first moment I'm going to show you. And then following that, you do see a flash of anger in there, which again makes the character a lot more powerful. So yeah, Laserta, played by Claude Earl Jones.
What's the wager, Marco? 2 gleaners.
Make it 200.
I don't have 200, you know that.
Then fold.
I've got you beat.
I know.
Don't tell me. You want me to move again, right? Tell you what. How about if I sit with my friend? Will that be okay?
Friend? Old miners have no friends.
That one. My name's Apollo. I don't suppose you want a drink?
I do not ingest consumables.
In this case, you're not missing anything. I've never seen anyone like you before.
You are lying.
No.
I sense you want to destroy me. You would not be the first. 9 have died trying. I cannot be destroyed by a pneumo.
I can see that. You seem to have run into a few dents.
Still, you will try.
Red Eye.
Sit.
Laserta wishes to see you.
Does everyone jump when he snaps his fingers? That's fine for a machine, but not for a human.
You owe me your life.
Perhaps I can return the favor.
What are you drinking?
Benny. Warm and good, thank you very much.
You have courage. A foolish trait that gets men killed. Why are you here?
I heard of your red eye. I was curious.
Another dangerous trait.
Where'd you find him?
Do not mistake my benevolent attitude for stupidity. What do you want?
To work for you.
Why didn't you say so?
I had to impress you.
By Equus, you're right. Come back tomorrow. I'll see what I can do.
And at number 6, again from the original 1978 and 1980 Battlestar Galacticas, we've got, of course, Baltar, played by John Colicos. Obviously played the first Klingon, but yes, a real proper villain with this. The room that he sits in, the light shining up at his face, his general expressions, just the general look, and his voice. Again, a bit of a good and evil sort of situation. He's the humans that's let all the other humans down, and he basically wants to subjugate humans, and the only way he can do that is becoming a powerful leader within the Cylon Empire. And it'd be hard to pick a scene for this, obviously I'm going to pick one. Yes, Baltar, very dark character, played by John Colicos.
Their destruction is complete.
Our forces have taken prisoners near the space drone. They tell of survivors who escaped in ships.
What ships? How far can they go? If a handful of survivors did indeed escape, they would have neither fuel nor food for a prolonged voyage.
The information is not complete. It is offered in exchange for life.
And what is the standing order for humans from your imperious leader?
Extermination.
Then carry out your orders. If they exist, they're doomed.
Number 5, not an individual, not a computer, not an entity. Generally, this is from the film Silent Running, and written obviously in the sort of flower power era type of thing, but a good message. It's, you know, the villain basically is Earth's economic greed. capitalism, etc. I will probably use a scene here where it gives Freeman Lowell the chance to make a lecture on the thing while he's defending his forest. So yeah, it's just basically a futuristic show set where there are various spaceships that have different domes of surviving forests on, and Earth has finally said, sod it, we don't need them anymore, let's just blow them all up and return the ships to commercial use. And I'll leave the rest of the explanation to Freeman Lowell, played by Bruce Dean.
Hey, now what's a big deal? I can't see the difference between that and this anyway. You don't see the difference? The difference is that I grew it. That's what the difference is. That I picked it and I fixed it. And it has a taste, and it has some color, and it has a smell. And that it calls back a time when there were flowers all over the earth, and there were valleys, and there were plains of tall green grass that you could lie down in, that you could go to sleep in. And there were blue skies, and there was fresh air, and there were things growing all over the place, not just in some domed enclosures blasted some millions of miles out into space. Look at that stuff. How can you guys sit there and really say anything to me about this? Look at this crap. Look at that. Dried synthetic crap. And you've become so dependent on it that I bet you can't even live without it. What do we want to roll? Do you realize how pitiful that is, what you just asked me? On Earth, everywhere you go, the temperature is 75 degrees. Everything is the same. All the people are exactly the same. But what kind of life is that?
Well, if it's a rut, why do you want to go back?
Because it's not too late to change it.
What do you want, Lowell? I mean, there's hardly any more disease, there's no more poverty. Nobody's out of a job.
That's right. Every time we have the argument, you say the same thing to me. You give me the same three answers all the time. The same thing, well, everybody has a job. That's always the last one. But you know what else there is no more of, my friend? There is no more beauty. And there's no more imagination. And there are no frontiers left to conquer. And you know why? Only one reason why. One reason why. The same attitude that you three guys are giving me right here in this room today. And that is, nobody cares. Look on the wall behind you. Look at that little girl's face. I know you've seen it. But you know what she's never going to be able to see? She's never going to be able to see the simple wonder of a leaf in her hand.
At number 4, Diana, played by Jane Badler. Might be a surprise to some people that this is quite high up. Obviously this was from the mini-series V, but again the impact of a lot of this was really strong because it's something we'd not seen before again. There were aliens that deceptively looked completely human. They had pitch shifters on the voice which obviously said they're not quite the same as us, but we could probably live with that. And then you get to scenes like this. I think it's the end of the first episode where Diana, who's the initial head of one vessel, you see her eating this rodent in that fashion. I bet she's not married. And yeah, it's how that character grows because she feels oppressed in her own job because she's just deemed to be a science officer or a commander of a science ship. She wants to take over the whole situation herself. You do get scenes in it where you see rooms full of human bodies in stasis, which is meant to be food for the aliens. That to me wasn't as much of a shock, and the reason for that is I'd already witnessed the Ovion Chrysalis scene in Battlestar Galactica, so in that sense that wasn't too much of a shock to me. But obviously this scene where you see her swallowing this rodent, and then other scenes where she just basically, even the John character who was supposed to be heading the whole operation, doesn't want to destroy Earth, but she does. She will do anything to say, I don't want to be just a science officer, I want to show how well I can rule. So it's obsession with her own sort of career, but obviously putting the whole of Earth at risk for doing so.
So you're pleased with the progress here then?
Yes, it's representative of all the other plants around the world. And shortly we'll begin our seminars for your scientists. There's something else I'm pleased with too, Christy. It's you. Of all the journalists we've met, my people say they feel most comfortable with you. And so do I. Thank you, Diana. We've done research that shows your people have a lot of confidence in you. You have. You're trusted, respected, and attractive. Qualities which are essential in our new official spokeswoman.
Number 3.
Travis is an advocate of total war. He carries out his orders with meticulous thoroughness.
Travis, from the series Blake's 7. Many people may not be aware of this, but what I will say about it is it came out literally about 2 months after Star Wars aired in the UK. This is a British sci-fi series that lasted for 4 seasons, certainly, or series. And yeah, it's, what can I say about this? Again, don't look at it for effects and, you know, some of the aliens, etc. But do look at it for the characters, because this show came out in the sort of punk era, in the anti-hero situation and things, and this is British sci-fi at its best. In a Star Trek situation, the Federation is usually this kind of utopian, welcoming situation that got there in the end. This is set in the future where this Federation is, to quote what Blake says, corrupt and oppressive. So Blake's crew are not members of the Federation. They may have been ex-members of the Federation, but you've got really strong characters there, and definitely advise you to watch that. But the arguable villain, he's supposed to be representing the good in some ways because he's representing the Federation, but Travis here, played by, in season 1, Stephen Greif, and in season 2, Brian Croucher. I'm going to play a couple of scenes here. You obviously get to see what he looks like. He's you know, he's a kind of like a battle's guard soldier.
I'm a field officer, not one of your decorative staff men.
But he has got one purpose, and he will destroy Blake, and he'll go to whatever means to do that. So here are a couple of scenes, one with Stephen Greif and the other one with Brian Croucher.
What is her condition?
There's some superficial bruising, a slight respiratory problem. Other than that, she's virtually unharmed. There's really no need for her to remain in the life support capsule.
No, she'll stay where she is for the moment. It'll make her more responsive to interrogation later.
She's not yet well enough to submit to intensive questioning.
Yes,
she must
thank
have
you
rest
very much indeed, Doctor. You're relieved of your responsibility for the prisoner. She is now the property, the concern of the interrogation division. We'll want to know about Blake, his ship, his crew, his plans.
Your words are meaningless to me. Who is Blake?
I think you'll remember quite soon. Oh, there may be a little pain, a little discomfort, but you will remember.
I will tell you nothing.
I'll come back later. By that time you may have answered my questions. You may begin.
They believed your story.
It wasn't difficult. It was close to the truth. The only lies were that I escaped the ambush, and that my mother was dead.
You did seal the entrance?
Yes, just as you told me.
Good. You did well. You can be proud of yourself.
I disgust myself.
That will pass. There is a reward for Blake, you know.
What you made me
Might
do.
even get you a civilian citation.
No!
You were sensible. You did what was expedient.
I betrayed 4 men. Men who represent the only cause worth fighting for. That's what I did. And now I want my side of the bargain.
Bargain? Travis, did you make a bargain with this traitress?
My mother! Let me take her! He promised me my mother would go...
Don't concern yourself with your mother. She died 1 hour ago.
No! I want my mother!
Now you'll stay here as my prisoner.
I'll deal with her. You just bring me Blake.
As the Supreme Commander orders.
Number 2. From Babylon 5, Morden, played by Ed Wasser. Now, In Babylon 5 there was a brutal mortal arch-enemy known as the Shadows, and there were these big black spider-like ships that could all be controlled by thought. Now Morden was a kind of an ambassador that bordered Babylon 5. He wasn't an official ambassador because he was able to go anywhere basically. People didn't really know who he was. He's got the dark look about him, but the way he gets to find out what people want is the simple what do you want psychology. He basically says to somebody, what do you want? And the first thing they'll probably say, well, I want you to bugger off, I'm trying to do so and so. And he'll ask again, what do you want? And the person gets more agitated, and then he'll ask a third time, what do you want? And then they'll probably turn around and say, I want to find all my race saved, I want these so-and-sos, these enemies of our state destroyed. And you don't know how he does it, but it is done. Thought is as deed from that point on. He actually just carried out, what that person requests. He wants to get in and basically bring down the Alliance who are against the Shadows, just bring them down from within, get one race to destroy another, get one race to blame another, but it just literally uses that what do you want psychology to actually get it, but he also collects on his debts. So a simple but really effective baddie.
Ah, Ambassador, I was just on my way to see you. My name is...
I'm sorry, but I don't have time to chat right now. I suggest you make an appointment.
I did.
Then make another one. Never a transport tube when you need one.
Ambassador, I was authorized to speak to you.
Yes, look. What do you want?
That's what I was going to ask you. What do you want?
You are a lunatic. Go away. Pester someone else.
Destination?
Bay 12. You are a very persistent young man.
I have to be. I'm not allowed to leave here until you've answered my question. What do you want?
This is a silly conversation.
Yes, it is. What do you want?
To be left alone.
Is that it? Is that really all, Ambassador?
All right. Fine. You really want to know what I want? You really want to know the truth? I want my people to reclaim their rightful place in the galaxy. I want to see the Centauri stretch forth their hand again and command the stars. I want a rebirth of glory, a renaissance of power. I want to stop running through my life like a man late for an appointment, afraid to look back or to look forward. I want us to be what we used to be. I want it all back the way that it was. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yes, it does.
And at number 1, from Blake 7 again, Serverlan, played by Jacqueline Pierce. I suppose at this point for a woman to be a bad guy was quite a feat as well. She wasn't some kind of evil queen or some comical evil queen type of thing. Again, she represented the Federation. She was at least one rank above Travis. She wasn't the president, not initially. She was a supreme commander of the Federation, and basically I'm going to play one scene here at the end of my spiel, because this first scene that you ever see Serverlan, it proper sums that person up. When there weren't guest wardrobe employees for Blake 7, Serverlan was always dressed in pure white, and she's everything that is dominating, controlling, takes no nonsense from anybody, will trample any resistance. It can't be emphasised enough, and Jacqueline Pierce executes this fantastically. They couldn't have picked somebody better. I've seen Jacqueline Pierce play other villains as well, and yeah, she's just so good at these kind of roles, bless her genes. Even the higher echelons are afraid of Serverlan. So what I'm going to play you here, this one particular scene where she's got two government officials there who are complaining to her, etc., and she just sits through it, stands through it, whatever, gets right to the end, and then she delivers. And yeah, just this one scene, you've got Serverlan sussed out for the rest of Blake 7.
Which is why the President has asked me to come here personally to express his own very grave concern over this matter. The destruction of the communications center has far-reaching political consequences. Controllers from some of the outer planets, whose loyalty to the Federation is delicately balanced, have been openly critical of the administration's defense system. There are even one or two radical voices that speak of withdrawal from the Federation.
My department has done all in its power to suppress information about Blake and his actions. There is a total blackout on all reports concerning him, but still the stories get out. They spread by word of mouth, by whispers, by rumor. Each time the story is told, it is elaborated upon. Any damage to the Federation is attributed to Blake. The smallest incident is exaggerated out of all proportion until it becomes a major event. Blake is becoming a legend. His name is a rallying call for malcontents of all persuasions. He must be stopped.
Gentlemen, I share the President's grave concern, and I am aware of the danger should Blake become a legend. But let us keep this matter in its correct perspective. It is true that Blake has command of a superb space vehicle, but he is just a man, backed by a handful of criminals, and that is all. He is not invulnerable, nor is he superhuman. He is just a man who has been extremely lucky to evade capture, so far.
With respect, Supreme Commander, we are aware of the facts. They are simply that with all the resources that the Federation can call upon, this one vulnerable, lucky man is still free to cause havoc.
You have some criticism of my handling of this matter, Secretary Rontaine?
Not at all. I hoped merely to convey the concern shown by the President when he briefed me for this visit.
It would be very helpful to all of us if we knew, if you could indicate what action you will now be taking against Blake.
Very well, Councillor Berkol. You may tell the President that I am appointing a space commander to take absolute control of this matter. He will be exclusively concerned to seek, locate, and destroy Blake.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
May we know the officer's name?
Yes, you may. Space Commander Travis.
I understood that Travis had been suspended from duty, pending an inquiry into the massacre of the civilians on the planet Oros.
And I have satisfied myself that Travis acted correctly in this matter. The civilian deaths on Oros were unavoidable.
There are other incidents on his record, unfortunate incidents.
He has caused the administration some political embarrassment in the past. In dealing with even minor insurrections, he has been overzealous.
Oh, don't be afraid of the word, Secretary. Ruthless. Committed. He does his duty as he sees it, and he sees it clearly. He has no time for the dirty grey areas of your politics.
I'm sure you're right, and of course the appointment is made on your judgment and your responsibility.
Responsibility is something I have never evaded, Secretary.
May I then tell the President that you are confident that the Blake problem will be solved soon?
You may tell him to prepare a statement announcing that Blake has been eliminated.
Thank you for your reassurances, Supreme Commander.
Goodbye.
A safe journey back to Earth.
Also, it kind of damaged me as a child in some ways, because whenever I thought of the Supremes, I didn't think of Diana Ross. I just thought of 3 Serverlans in a row, you know, like baby love, baby love. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. Do feel free to comment, and if you're going to review it, then put yourself on flight mode first, Pasty? So, anyway, yes, until next time. Right, I'll chop some of that. Anyway, ta-ra.